Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Today I am going to be looking at the Toyota TS040 2014 car. Not the, I think they had this car in 2015 as well. I think they used it for a couple of years or something like that. But I am looking at the 2014 model of this car, which is going to be, I think, in line with the Audi R18 that we had in the last episode. That was also a 2014 model. Of course, that was the winner of the 2014 race, and we all know that Toyota seem to have some incredibly bad luck, even of late, with their cars. What was it? In 2016, their car broke down on the last lap or something. In 2017, all their cars broke down at the Le Mans race. Spoiler alert, by the way. All their cars broke down, despite, I think, Kamui Kobayashi doing an incredible job getting the fastest lap time in the Toyota TS050. But, you know, that's the way, unfortunately, that's the way endurance racing goes. Anyway, this car, obviously, Japanese car, Toyota, produced in 2014. It's a hybrid car, just like the Audi R18 e-tron Quattro. Designed by Toyota Motorsport GmbH, which I don't really know. I'm not sure what that is, but it was designed for the 2014 FIA Endurance World Endurance Championship, as I spin it off, which includes, of course, the famous Le Mans 24 Hour. That's why we're at the Le Mans track again, second week in a row. It was designed based on the Toyota TS030, but as I mentioned also last week, with that shake-up of rules, you know, the revised rules and everything, they had to do a number of things they had to do a number of things that were different. They had to change a few things up, with particular focus on fuel economy. That was one of the biggest rule changes. They wanted to have less fuel but still go longer, so they had to do that with, you know, the electric systems, the powertrain systems, the aerodynamics, and all that kind of stuff. They had to change up. So all this was sort of that new era that I was talking about, the one where Audi won that first race in 2014, and then since then I think Porsche have had it every single year. Although this year was, like I said, this year should have been Toyota's year, 2017. But you know, unfortunately, you cannot have it all. Specifications for this car: it is a 90-degree V8 engine. Mid-engine, of course. You don't have to know where the engine of this car is. You can just tell from looking at the external shots. It's a 3.7 litre engine, 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cam, as usual, direct fuel injection, naturally aspirated, not turbocharged at all, and it produces 512 bhp, brake horsepower, 382 kilowatts of power. On top of that, it has two motors, one on the front axle, one on the rear axle, which gives it a four-wheel drive system. So if I'm understanding this correctly, the engine drives the rear wheels. One of these electric motors, a Denso electric motor, drives the rear wheels as well. That's longitudinally mounted, so I'm assuming that's bolted to the gearbox, with 237 brake horsepower being produced from that. And on the front, I think it's an Aisin electric motor. So that's transversely mounted on the front. So that's, of course, that means, or that's telling me that that's mounted on some sort of differential or something on the front axle itself, as opposed to the other one, which, because it's longitudinally mounted, I'm assuming it's mounted to the gearbox or connected to the gearbox. The front motor also produces 237 bhp. So that brings us up to a total of, what, 700 and... what was it? It was 237, and 500 and something. Oh dear, I've lost the other figure. What was the other figure? 512. Yeah, 512. So that brings us up to something like 790 brake horsepower approximately. I'm not doing the adding up properly there, but yeah, there we go. Now you're also going to notice in this video I'm having a little bit of difficulty with the head tracking software. I've been having a lot of difficulty with my recordings and everything, and I think the head tracking software was one of the reasons why. So you'll see the viewpoint bobbing up and down a little bit more than normal. I am trying to sort that out, and I do apologize if it makes you feel a little bit nauseous. Chassis on this car was a carbon fiber composite and an aluminium honeycomb monocoque, and the brakes were ventilated carbon ceramic discs all around, and of course, like I said, all-wheel drive. Actually, you know what, now that I'm adding the combined power together in my head properly, it's 986 bhp, not 700 and something. It's 986 brake horsepower. Yeah. And the major wins for this car, now don't think that this car didn't win any races. It won the 6 hours of Silverstone with Anthony Davidson, Nicolas Lapere and Sebastian Buemi. 6 hours of Spa-Francorchamps with the same team. 6 hours of Fuji with just Buemi and Davidson. 6 hours of Shanghai with Buemi and Davidson. And 6 hours of Bahrain with, no, it wasn't Buemi and Davidson, it was Stefan Sarrazin and Alexander Wirtz and Mike Conway. Now, these names you may know because some of these names are Formula 1 names. These are former Formula 1 drivers. Alexander Wirtz, Sebastian Buemi, Anthony Davidson, and then the rest of these are well-known race car drivers, GT drivers. So it did have some wins. Unfortunately, it did not have the win that it so desired, which was the Le Mans 24-hour race. Because the curse of the Toyota. That's all I've got to say about it. It's a curse of the Toyota. So that's enough about the specs and the race history. Time to move on to what it is like in Assetto Corsa. Of course, we're looking at modelling, texturing, sound and physics, and an overall score out of 10. Let's start with the modelling. Modelling looks fine inside and out. I do like the way the displays are set up inside. It's a very nice steering wheel, easy to read, good dials, you know, the old LED dials. I do miss those old LED dials. They don't have them on Formula 1 cars anymore either. But there is this center console area which gives you can see it's got your ERS pressure, it's got your lap you're on, it's got your fuel, it's got your water and oil temperature, your last lap, your lap delta, your current lap time. So all very, very handy stuff right there to be seen. Now I did notice that if we're looking straight out, it's kind of hard to look at that, especially if I was to reduce the field of view to a more suitable field of view for actually racing. Of course, you guys know that I increased the field of view for you guys to be able to see a bit more of the car. So I think it may be a little bit difficult, but you can't do anything about that because that's how the car was designed. The car was not designed to be driven on a single screen, small single screen with a low field of view. It was designed to be driven by a person who had a neck that could move around and look at different things, you know, look around the corners, which is why I try and use this head motion app so I can actually look around at will. Not that Will's in the car with me, but look around at will. That's a terrible joke. Let's just ignore that like that never happened. Texturing, again, I think that just jumps in with Kunos normally. Normally it looks pretty good. Inside looks better than outside as usual, I think, because you spend more time in the car, but outside doesn't look too bad. I mean, you can see there's little arrows on the side and you can just about see some of the writing. Because of the styling, the body style of this car, it's not too bad the way it's sort of set up. So I'm quite happy with the texturing, and like I said, inside looks great. You know, the carbon fiber, the steering wheel itself, the little rubber grips, or I suppose some sort of foam rubber grips. All the buttons are labeled. The little center console display, as you can see, my ERS is going down as I'm using it manually, or the battery charge, and even the little mirror that you've got, the camera mirror that these cars have, all looks very, very good. Sounds wise, you can tell it's a V8. It does sound pretty good. Again, just a little bit quiet. It doesn't have that sort of snarl to it that you would be expecting. I think the two things I've learnt about this recently, or at least over the past couple of months, and I have mentioned this in other Assetto Corsa videos, is that it's the resonance around, you know, the resonance of the car, of the engine inside the car, the resonance of the engine against, for example, these crash barriers, against the trees, all that kind of stuff. I think that's what gives it that echo that we are so used to listening to, that we are so used to experiencing, whether we're watching videos on YouTube or we're at an actual race or at an event, or even if we're driving our own cars or we come across a high performance car going down the road and you hear that loud echoing noise, that snarl. I think that just comes from the resonance of, you know, the echo from the buildings, all the sound waves bouncing back towards you and just giving you that reverb. I think that's what it is, and we are missing that. I mean, I know Assetto Corsa's got it, but it doesn't seem to have it at that realistic level, particularly inside the cabin. Apart from that though, I think the sounds are pretty bang on. It sounds very, very nice. Now, physics. Well, this car is more susceptible to bottoming out, I found. I did find this car is a little bit more susceptible to bottoming out than the R18 and the Porsches. What I also found though is that this car feels a lot easier and a lot nicer to drive than the R18. Is it as nice as the Porsche 919? Arguably not. It's not as good as the 919, and I'm comparing it to the 2015 919, not the 2016 one. It's just not as good, but it's close. It is pretty close. I definitely preferred this to the R18. It's got a really nice feel. The power band feels good. When you put your foot down, traction control on or off, it feels like there is grip. You know, it feels like the car's not going to bog down due to traction control, and it doesn't feel like the car's going to spin up the wheels too much with the absence of traction control. That being said, of course you can spin up the wheels if you were so inclined. You could spin up the wheels, but the point I'm trying to make is that it's not. It doesn't feel like it's just going to just spin up out of nowhere. It doesn't feel like it's got massive amounts of torque that are just going to send you hurtling into the nearest barrier. It does feel actually really good. It feels very stable. It felt like it was riding the bumps better on the track, but like I said, it was more susceptible to the curbing. It just felt like a nicer car than the R18. I preferred this to the R18, despite the R18 being a winner. And nothing against the R18, I think this is now down to personal preference. I found the drive on this car to be better. I found the steering to be more agile on this car. I found it to be more accurate. And though I found this car to experience more understeer, case in point right there, it still felt really good. You could force the car through, which is really nice. So I'm going to give this car, actually I'm going to give this car 9.5 out of 10. I did thoroughly enjoy this car. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think of the Toyota TS040, and last but not least, do support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. I would massively appreciate your support. It will help me do a whole bunch of things on the channel and really just help me make a living out of this. It would be really great, and you know, just allow me to put even more effort into this as I now drive on just electric power. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time, where I'll be taking a look at some car.